Welcome in to another episode of Shot Callers. We're joined by David Wright, the Chief Commercial and Chief Marketing Officer for Minor League Baseball. David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Beautiful day here at Huntington Park. You can't really beat that, right?
No, you can't. This is a nice little ballpark.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you spent 15 years with Major League Soccer, transitioned about almost 3 years ago now to the minor league side. What was exciting about minor league baseball, and what made you make that transition, given that Major League Soccer has blown up?
My 15 years at MLS was fantastic, and I often say, I am who I am in part because of that time. I had a very unique opportunity to have a front row seat with a sport that was and continues to be on the rise. And I think for me, as I look at minor league baseball, and probably the thing that most attracted me was it's not every day that you can align with a sport that has 100 years of history that has as much upside as minor league baseball. And I think the history is fantastic, and I think there's been tremendous success across 160 clubs, but the ability to aggregate those 160 clubs and point towards a vision to be a dynamic leader was something pretty special. I think we're starting to scratch the surface.
Yeah, and I think one of the big initiatives that you guys have championed and you've made very clear is the 50 million fans by 2026. As someone who is championing that initiative and is looking forward to that goal, what is it that you guys need to put in place to make it happen, and what have you seen from your partners and from the teams to help elevate you to get it to that point?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, first, I wish there was a lightning in the bottle solution, but unfortunately there's not. It starts with that vision to be a dynamic leader. It starts with putting a line in the sand and committing to try to push the envelope for growth. And I think as we think forward, there's a number of things that are really driving those efforts. One, it's all about technology. So, over the last 18 to 24 months, I think we've made a really big push, and the marketplace has responded to minor league baseball as being a tech-forward sport and property. When you think about next generation fandom, it's all about the device and technology and being, hyper connected. Very closely tied to that is content. I think minor league baseball has an incredible opportunity to be a big-time content player in this ever-evolving space. And so you're going to see some big-time efforts in that space. And probably more than anything else is we've got 160 clubs that are incredibly relevant in their local market that are waking up every single day, innovating and pushing the envelope. So all of that combined gives me a lot of confidence that, we're onto something. It's a big goal.
Yeah.
When you think about where we're at today, 42 million people going through Turnstile, getting to 50 is a big, bold statement. I like our chances though.
Yeah, I think it provides you a good North Star too. Any type of good innovation needs something to aim for, right? Mm-hmm. So, just talk about the sheer scale, right? That's got to be an advantage not only for minor league baseball in achieving that goal, but also on the partnership side, right? On the commercial side of things. You're looking at, you have 160 teams. You can activate in many different ways, in many unique ways too. What does that benefit from a partner standpoint, working with you guys to really either elevate their brands or work with you guys further to dive into markets they may not have thought about before?
It's been interesting now, a couple years in. There's two constants when I sit across the table from a decision maker, a CMO at a big brand. And one, the perception of minor league baseball across the board is positive. And two, every single person that we talk to has their own personal minor league baseball experience. So when you've got 160 clubs and 81% of the U.S. population lives within the minor league baseball market, that's not overly surprising. But when you think about it, regardless of sport or a brand, if people like your product and they've tried your product, that's usually a really good thing. Yeah. And so now for us, it's all about how do you harness that? How do you get this massive scale and wrap your arms around it and take it to the commercial marketplace? And I think the marketplace is starting to respond. There was a little bit of an educational process. I think people are a little blown away by the size and scale, but once they hear the story and once they hear the vision of where this thing's going, people are blown away.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see that. Last night we had our second ever partner summit. We had some of the biggest brands and some of the biggest decision makers in our industry.
Yeah.
So they're starting to take notice, and I think it's just a matter of time. And I really like the energy and how the marketplace is responding.